Hi guys, it's Michelle, and today's video is going to be all about the Menendez brothers. This is such a super interesting case. I honestly don't know why people don't still talk about it to this day. Well, actually, I guess they didn't just make a Lifetime documentary. Not documentary, it was like more like a movie about it, and it was super interesting, so definitely go watch it if you can. It's like $4 on iTunes to like buy, so I would say watch it. It was actually really good. And that released in June, but I'm surprised that like people still don't just like talk about the case in general because it is so fucked. Like, it's just so weird and honestly super interesting, and I want to like know more because it's like kind of a weird, I'll explain. At the time of the case, which was like the 1990s, it was definitely a super popular case. Like, people were talking about it all the time. Basically, if you don't know who the Menendez brothers are, you're probably a little confused, but Joseph Lyle, who just went by Lyle, and Eric Galen Menendez are American brothers from Beverly Hills, California. Lyle was born on August 20th in 1968, and Eric was born on November 27th in 1970. These boys became very famous for murdering their parents, Jose and Kitty Menendez. So we're going to talk about the background of the family itself and like what possibly could have led two kids to murder their parents, because like I would say a usual, usual, it's not usual, but like sometimes it does happen where kids do kill their parents. It's usually like one kid that goes like, that is like crazy or some type of like mentally insane kind of thing. But for there to be like two children to do it, there probably has to be a reason behind it. So we're gonna get into that. So Lyle and Eric's father, Jose Menendez, was born in Havana, Cuba, and moved to the USA at 16 years old. In 1963, he married Mary Louise, aka Kitty Anderson, and moved to New York City, where he got his degree. And they had their two sons, Joseph Lyle and Eric Galen. So Jose's career really progressed, and he became a kind of like a hotshot businessman. He was a corporate executive, and that had to move the family out to Calabasas, California, which is like a really expensive area. Obviously, you probably have heard of it, like the Kardashians live there. According to later reports, Kitty was a very selfish, unstable alcoholic and drug addict. However, more importantly about this case is their father. I would normally like want to talk about the trial like at the end, you know what I mean, because like obviously, but this is part of their background according to the trial, which we'll get into later. But basically, according to later reports, during the trial, their father, Jose, was actually sexually abusive towards Eric and Lyle as children, which obviously is super sad, but we're gonna get into that. According to a lot of people, Jose could be described as a pedophile, as a perfectionist, as a very cruel person in general. And though a lot of people don't believe that this was true, which we'll once again get into after we talk about the actual murders, this is something that I kind of genuinely believe, which once again, we'll get into. Because if you think about it, what would two like rich kids from Beverly Hills really want to do, like killing their parents? Like, they're normal kids. Lyle literally went to Princeton University, which is an Ivy League school. Like, it just, you know, normal people, quote unquote normal, you know, don't just like kill people. It's just not like a typical thing. And not only just like not kill people, but like kill their parents. Like, that's like, you would think that there probably was some sort of reason or resentment that they had against their parents that would like make sense, like not make up for the fact that they killed their parents, because I don't think you should kill anyone, but we'll get into it. But now we are going to go into the actual night of the murders of Kitty and Jose Menendez. So on August 20th in 1989, Lyle was 21 years old and Eric was 18 years old. Jose and Kitty were watching the James Bond movie The Spy Who Loved Me in their den at 722 North Elm Drive in Beverly Hills, California. Lyle and Eric walked into the room and shot both of their parents dead. So they actually did try to cover it up at first, and you know, it was working to an extent. Basically, they drove off with their shotguns and dropped them off on Mulholland Drive. They later told police that they went to see License to Kill, which was another James Bond movie, but the lines were too long, so they saw Batman instead. Afterwards, they went to the annual Taste of LA festival in Santa Monica, and they returned home at 11:47 p.m. and that's when they actually called 911 and said, somebody killed my parents. Police did consider the brothers as suspects, but they didn't have any evidence against them or any reason for them to want to kill their parents. So it was pretty much like left unsolved for a while. However, after the murders happened, what did get police very suspicious about the children is that they began spending a lot of money, which pretty much got the cops on their radar because they calculated it, and within 6 months of being orphaned, they spent $1 million, which is a lot of money to spend in 6 months. So here's really where the story like thickens, and this is where the truth comes out, because Eric was like really psychologically struggling with this entire thing. Obviously, a normal person, I feel like, would struggle with the fact that they killed their parents. It's a thing you're gonna probably like struggle with. But he basically was talking to his psychologist, where he actually confessed to his psychologist, Dr. Oziel. So when he told Dr. Oziel wanted Lyle to come in as well. Lyle was super upset with the fact that Dr. Oziel knew about this, and he actually threatened Dr. Oziel, saying that he would like hurt him if anybody found out about this, which wasn't Dr. Oziel's intent anyway. He actually did not want to tell people that Eric murdered his parents because he felt like his reason was justified, because he did talk about the whole sexual abuse and everything. But the unfortunate thing is Dr. Oziel actually told his mistress he was having an affair, and he told his mistress what happened with the murders. Basically, somehow they broke up at some point, and he got back with his wife, and the mistress was furious, and she ended up telling the police what really happened about the murders. So Lyle was arrested on March 8th, 1990, and Eric was out of the country in Israel, but he surrendered himself 3 days after returning to Los Angeles. In August 1990, the tapes were actually able to be used against them because, if you don't know, psychologists usually record their sessions. However, the reason that it was able to be used is because Lyle actually did threaten the psychologist on tape, which was obviously not a smart idea when you're on trial for murder, but you know what? I don't know. It's like, I'm sure that they were mentally, some sort of capacity, a little bit fucked, because even if they weren't before this, like, you literally shot your parents. Like, that's crazy. Like, in general, like, even if you shoot someone or kill someone, like, for like self-defense 100%, like, they were going to kill you, I feel like it's still something that would emotionally like weigh on anybody. Maybe he threatened him out of like pure being scared, or maybe he actually meant it. Maybe he actually is a violent person, though his past doesn't really show that at all. Their actual first trial happened in 1993, and this was such a publicized trial. A lot of people were watching it and were knowing about it. That Menendez brothers actually ended up gaining a lot of fans, which is kind of weird considering, you know, they're on trial for murdering their parents. And a lot of fans would like write them notes and stuff. And Eric's defense attorney was named Leslie Abramson, and she was actually very famous in this trial because she was actually very famous for her case that alleged the brothers were driven to murder by a lifetime abuse at the hand of their parents, including sexual assault by their father. A lot of people didn't believe the fact that they were physically or emotionally abused as kids because they never acted out as children. Like, most kids of abuse tend to act out in school and like portray like their anger in sometimes a violent way, and these kids didn't do that at all. So people thought that that was proof that they weren't actually abused. However, 100% believe that they were, especially because their cousins actually spoke out at the trials, testifying under oath that their cousins Eric and Lyle had both talked to them about being sexually abused by their father multiple times, and on many occasions they've talked about this to their cousins, who are now testifying under oath. So obviously I believe that they actually were sexually abused. Is that a reason to like kill your parents? No, they should have gone to the police and they wouldn't be in this situation. Their cousins also verified the fact that they did talk to their mother about this abuse, and their mother told them that they were lying or that they were wrong and blah blah blah. So that could be another motive as to why they would not just kill their dad and why they would kill their mom too. Well, another motive. Like I said, I think they just should have gone to the police and then we wouldn't be in this situation. But then again, a lot of times the police don't believe situations like this, like about sexual abuse and emotional abuse and physical abuse. Like, a lot of times people don't believe you, which is what's really fucking unfortunate. They felt like they had to kill their parents because they felt like they were killing for their lives. They really felt like it was self-defense. And I believe them. Like, I genuinely do think they were sexually abused as kids. Like I said, I never think violence and killing is an answer, but I do believe that they actually were abused, and I do believe that they were actually scared for their lives. So this trial ended up being like rather confusing because the jury couldn't decide what to do ultimately, because it was like kind of split between men and women. The women believed them and the men were like, oh, the men literally said that Eric was probably gay and that's how he could describe the instances with their father, which is so fucked. Like, even if he was gay, which he wasn't, it would, like, that just is like, what the fuck? Like, what are you talking about? Basically it was kind of inconclusive, so they did have another trial. But the next trial was like less publicized, so there's like kind of less information about it. But a lot of people also believe that they possibly just wanted their father's wealth, which once again, I just feel like is not a reason. Well, obviously it's not a reason to kill your parents, but I'm saying like it's not even a logical thought. Like, I genuinely definitely think that they were abused as kids. I feel like it's pretty obvious. Overall, the jury of the second trial decided that they were guilty, and they were both convicted of first-degree murder and conspiracy to murder. Now, normally a case like this would probably result in the death penalty. However, because the boys never had any violent records or any felony records or anything, they were actually just sentenced to life in prison. Which I don't know. Like, do you think they deserve life in prison because yes, they did kill people, but was it really like self-defense and the fact that they genuinely believed that this father was going to kill them? I mean, I would say like if my family member was like sexually abusing me, like you probably would be scared that they were going to kill you at some point, especially if like you told the police or something. I don't know. Like, I don't know, maybe they didn't deserve life in prison. I mean, either way, they did still kill people, which is fucked, but like, what do you think that they should have gotten? As of right now, they are separated. They go to separate prisons, so they haven't seen each other in over 20 years. I guess they still like talk via like mail and stuff like that, and actually both of them are married, which is weird. They married pen pals. It's weird because there's no conjugal visits, so that means like they could have never had sex with the people that they married, but obviously their wives believe that they are not innocent because they definitely did kill people, but innocent in the sense of they were actually abused and like really did fear for their lives. So that's the story. They both are in California prisons and will probably remain so for the rest of their lives. But what do you guys think? Do you guys really think that they were abused as kids? Even if they were, do you think that's like an excuse? Do you think that's a reason of self-defense? Should they have had less time in prison? What do you think? I don't know. Like, I don't know how I feel about it because yes, they were probably actually abused and like that's fucked up, but like also they literally killed people. And I feel like that's what breaks down to it, and it can't really be considered like actual self-defense because they weren't actively trying to kill their kids. Like, it's not like they had a knife or like a gun and was like trying to kill their kids. But I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. If you guys like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. Like I said, let me know in the comments what you think about this case. What do you think their sentencing should have been? Let me know. Make sure you follow me on Twitter, Snapchat, and Instagram because I'm always posting really dope ass shit on there. Subscribe for new videos every single day, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye!